The Holocaust, the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews and millions of other victims during World War II, was not the work of Adolf Hitler alone. While Hitler was the ideological driving force behind the Nazi regime's racial policies, the planning and execution of the Holocaust involved a network of high-ranking officials, bureaucrats, and military leaders who transformed his vision into a horrifying reality. These men were not mere followers, they were architects of genocide, each playing a crucial role in designing, organizing, and implementing the machinery of mass murder. One of the most central figures in the planning of the Holocaust was Heinrich Himmler, the Reichsführer SS and one of Hitler's most loyal and fanatical subordinates. Himmler was the head of the SS, Schutzstaffel, the paramilitary organization that grew into the primary instrument of Nazi terror. Under his leadership, the SS controlled the Gestapo, secret police, the concentration camps, and later the extermination camps. Himmler was obsessed with racial purity and saw the extermination of Jews as a necessary step in creating a Germanic empire. He personally oversaw the construction of death camps like Auschwitz and authorized the use of gas chambers for mass killings. His meticulous nature ensured that the Holocaust was carried out with chilling efficiency, treating genocide as an administrative task rather than a moral crime. Another key planner was Reinhard Heydrich, Himmler's second-in-command and one of the most feared men in Nazi Germany. As the head of the Reich Main Security Office, RSHA, Heydrich controlled the Gestapo, the SD, intelligence service, and the Kripo, criminal police. He was instrumental in organizing the Wannsee Conference in January 1942, where senior Nazi officials gathered to coordinate the final solution to the Jewish question. The Wannsee Conference formalized the bureaucratic process of deportation and extermination, ensuring that all branches of the German state would cooperate in the genocide. Heydrich's ruthlessness earned him the nickname the Hangman, and his assassination by Czech resistance fighters in 1942 led to brutal reprisals, including the destruction of the village of Lidice. Adolf Eichmann, a high-ranking SS officer under Heydrich, was the logistical mastermind behind the Holocaust. As the head of the Gestapo's Jewish Affairs Department, Eichmann was responsible for organizing the mass deportations of Jews from across Europe to the extermination camps. He negotiated with railway officials, coordinated with local collaborators in occupied countries, and ensured that trains filled with victims arrived on schedule. Eichmann's cold, bureaucratic approach to genocide, treating human lives as numbers in a ledger, made him one of the most efficient killers of the Nazi regime. After the war, he fled to Argentina but was captured by Israeli agents in 1960, tried in Jerusalem, and executed for his crimes. Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's Minister of Propaganda, played a different but equally vital role in the Holocaust. While not directly involved in the logistics of mass murder, Goebbels was responsible for shaping public opinion, ensuring that Germans either supported or remained indifferent to the persecution of Jews. Through newspapers, radio broadcasts, and films, he spread anti-Semitic propaganda, portraying Jews as subhuman parasites who deserved eradication. His inflammatory speeches and writings helped create an atmosphere where genocide became acceptable. In the final days of the war, Goebbels remained fanatically loyal to Hitler, killing his own children before committing suicide alongside his wife in the Führer bunker. Hermann Göring, Hitler's second-in-command and the head of the Luftwaffe, German Air Force, was another key figure in the Holocaust's planning. In 1941, Hitler tasked Göring with preparing a comprehensive plan for the final solution, leading to the authorization of mass extermination methods. Göring also oversaw the economic exploitation of Jews before their deaths, seizing their property, businesses, and valuables to fund the Nazi war effort. Despite his early power, Göring's influence waned as the war progressed, and he was eventually captured by the Allies, convicted at Nuremberg, and sentenced to death, though he committed suicide before his execution. Rudolf Höss, the commandant of Auschwitz, was personally responsible for the deaths of over 1 million people. Under Himmler's orders, Höss transformed Auschwitz from a labor camp into the largest killing center in history. He supervised the construction of gas chambers and crematoria, experimented with Zyklon B to maximize efficiency, and ensured that the camp operated like a well-oiled machine of death. After the war, Höss was captured, testified at Nuremberg, and was hanged at Auschwitz in 1947, his execution taking place just steps away from the gas chambers where so many had perished. Beyond these high-profile names, thousands of lesser-known officials, soldiers, and bureaucrats participated in the Holocaust. Doctors like Joseph Mengele conducted cruel experiments on prisoners, while Odilo Globoknik, the SS officer in charge of Operation Reinhard, oversaw the extermination camps of Treblinka, Sobibor, and Belzec. Civil servants drafted deportation orders, police units rounded up Jews, and ordinary soldiers guarded the trains that carried victims to their deaths. The Holocaust was not just the work of a few evil men but a vast, interconnected system where countless individuals contributed to the genocide, whether through active participation or silent complicity. Whether all German people and political parties supported the Holocaust is complex and requires nuanced examination of the spectrum of responses within German society during the Nazi era. While the Nazi regime successfully created an environment where mass murder could occur with widespread compliance, it would be inaccurate to claim uniform enthusiasm for the genocide among all Germans. Historical evidence reveals a fractured society where active participation, passive acceptance, silent opposition, and outright resistance coexisted in varying degrees. The Nazi Party itself maintained absolute control through terror and propaganda, suppressing dissent and manufacturing at least the appearance of popular support for its policies. However, beneath this surface, attitudes ranged from fanatical antisemitism among committed Nazis to horrified secret opposition among some civilians and even within certain state institutions. Among the general population, reactions to the persecution and eventual extermination of Jews followed no single pattern. While anti-Semitic sentiments had deep roots in European culture and were certainly widespread in Germany, this did not automatically translate into universal support for mass murder. Many ordinary Germans participated directly or indirectly in the Holocaust through various roles, as concentration camp guards, bureaucratic facilitators, or beneficiaries of confiscated Jewish property. Others complied out of fear rather than conviction, recognizing the deadly consequences of opposition in a police state where neighbors informed on each other. The Nazi regime deliberately cultivated public indifference through propaganda that dehumanized Jews while carefully obscuring the full horror of the extermination camps from the general populace. This manufactured ignorance allowed many Germans to avoid confronting the moral implications of genocide happening in their name. However, there were also those who quietly resisted hiding Jews at great personal risk, leaking information about atrocities, or expressing private doubts that they dared not voice publicly. The White Rose student movement and various church figures demonstrated that moral opposition did exist, however marginalized. Within Germany's political landscape, the Nazi Party's totalitarian control after 1933 eliminated meaningful partisan opposition to the Holocaust, had been brutally suppressed,